we are talking about COVID challenges. We are talking about the problems that you are facing, and we will though come to the COVID challenge a bit later. I'd like to ask you, what do you think are the challenges faced by the consumers in this scenario?
Sure. So I think I wouldn't want to stick to the technical and the bookish definition of consumer in this case. I'll just maybe take this question and take the liberty of diversifying this and answering in terms of customers. On a lighter note, I would like to say we've made the consumers and customers slightly lazy. Everything and anything is available at your doorstep.
Good afternoon. We have with us Anirudh Sharma, CEO and co-founder of MyEra. Hi, Anirudh, how are you?
Hi, Sumantini. I'm good and really good to see you. And I'm really excited to take the conversation ahead and express whatever we've been doing and share with the world what we're building.
Yeah, it is very good to have you too. Before we delve into the questionnaire we have prepared, I'd just like to know about your journey, about why MyEra and how MyEra happened. And yeah.
Sure. So this is one of the most interesting parts, at least for me, and I kind of like this part. So yeah, happy to share my story. So we started off as engineering students, and I think in India that's a very common thing. So anyway, so in 2016 we started, and I was there as an undergrad student at Shiv University. So I'm a mechanical engineer, by the way. So we were involved in hardcore mechanical engineering projects. We were building cars. We built the first vehicle from our university, Shiv University, back in 2015-16. And so we were involved in all these projects, and we built 2 cars, and then I went for Hyperloop and things like that. So these were hardcore engineering projects. And by the final year, I had this interest in exploring beyond engineering also. So that was the time when startups like Ola, Uber, these were coming up, and these startups were gaining traction, and the ecosystem was also gaining traction in that sense. So we decided to start up, and by that time we had this kind of overconfidence also that we are the achievers, we can do anything, and we just started, and we didn't really have a lot of background in that sense also. We started, and then we started failing, and we're experimenting a lot and learning things the hard way. So I graduated in 2017, and that was the time we had to get into the market. So the first startup that we launched was called WorkMe, and we started from the education domain, pivoted multiple times. So from 2016 to 2018, we spent this time learning the basic lessons and figuring out the product market fit. So by 2018, we had pivoted and entered the marketing domain. So in 2018, we acquired Swiggy as one of our paying customers, and we started offering them marketing services. So we were in the offline marketing domain, and we were growing with Swiggy. Swiggy was launching in new cities. We were helping them with their campaigns. So that helped us scale also, and that helped us evolve as a marketing services startup also. So fast forward to 2019. So the financial year 2020 was a good financial year for us as a startup. We crossed break even. It was a bootstrapped startup, and we became profitable. So things were going good. But then we all know in 2020, COVID came into the scenario, and suddenly the offline campaigns were called off. So from profitability to 6 months of no revenues, that was an interesting phase wherein we had to figure out how to survive, and at the same time evolve as a startup that would still be relevant in the market at that point of time. So the very obvious pivot or diversification was getting into the social media marketing domain, wherein we started offering social media marketing services to smaller brands, relatively smaller brands. And so at that point, certain things changed internally and externally. We realized that suddenly the profit margins dropped, and then there were a lot of inefficiencies in the process, and we were relatively new to this domain. So we realized there were a lot of pain points around us. And being a startup, team and spent 4 or 5 years in the domain, we were always looking for opportunities to scale. So we thought this could be the opportunity. We have a lot of problems around us. We've been in the marketing domain. Why not try to solve these and introduce technology to solve and scale? So that was when Era, MyEra was launched as an R&D project under the previous startup, and we were calling it Era at that point of time. So we did the standard processes, built some non-functional prototypes, tested with some users. We were gaining confidence, but because the feedback was positive. So fast forward to 2021, we decided to put operations at WorkMe on hold and take up MyEra as a new thing, and as an independent private limited company, we launched it. And so full time, the core team shifted to the startup. So the core team in that sense is same. We've actually added more people, and so that was how MyEra was born. Just to give you an idea as to what we are doing. This could be a question later on. Maybe let's go as per your structure now.
So yeah.
So
tell us what MyEra is about.
Sure. So I think I've been talking about the journey in terms of startups, but being a co-founder, and so I was leading the startup previously also at WorkMe. So that is what my personal journey also looks like. I mean, I've been totally invested in these startups. So yeah. So once the shift happened, so we launched MyEra. So MyEra, in that sense, is we're building an intelligent marketing assistant. So from services, we decided to go completely towards product. So this is a SaaS model. And so MyEra essentially is an intelligent marketing assistant that helps social media marketers generate trendy marketing creatives in just a matter of few clicks, without the requirement of having those design or marketing skills. Also, it not only lets you create these content pieces, it also lets you distribute and analyze. So it has 4 primary engines. The first one is Trend Watch, which lets you come up with ideas as to what you should be creating content around. The next step, once you have the idea shortlisted, you can go ahead and create content here on MyEra itself. And then once you are done with the content generation, you can distribute and analyze. So this is a basic overview of what we're building. And during this process, as I said, the core team has remained same. So when we were building cars at Shivnada University, the engine and transmission team essentially evolved as these, the core team of the first startup, and then the core team remained same. And then we added a CTO, Abhinandan, who's my high school friend, and he went to BITS Pilani, he did his engineering, did some jobs. Gained some experience, and then we came together as a team. So yeah,
that's quite interesting and quite a journey. So the next question I'd like to ask you is, can you give me an overview of the industry and the market dynamics?
Sure. So as I said, we were in the marketing domain, and we ourselves started facing certain problems in the market, and we realized that a lot of similar agencies were working in this domain and facing similar problems. So as you can expect, any marketing team or an agency can only do so much. If let's say you keep on adding more and more responsibilities to your marketing team, you would definitely need more people. And once you have more and more people brainstorming, you can expect the conference rooms to be full with a lot of different ideas, but the actionable part drastically goes down. So that was a common problem that we faced, and we realized that a lot of people around us were facing. And in that sense, if you look at the social media marketing or management market, it is projected to be over $41 billion by 2026. So this is a global market. So as I said, we're now in the SaaS domain. So in that terms, I think the scalability is not going to be a challenge if we are able to establish a good product market fit. So we are humbly targeting 22.5% of this market. So which turns out to be close to $1 billion as an opportunity. So as you can expect, startups in India and globally the basic fundamentals, I believe, remain constant. So marketing, in that sense, I don't really remember the name of the book where I read this, but 50% of your efforts should be focused towards marketing while you're building your product. But startups in that sense, and especially not just startups, even small and medium business owners, they kind of get stuck with the firefighting around product development or day-to-day business operations, that they kind of miss out on this opportunity of marketing and getting good returns out of this. So we're just trying to um, build on this particular opportunity and be there to help smaller businesses especially get their marketing right.
That was actually very helpful because you gave us numbers as well as your view to the industry over the picture of the industry. If you're talking about market, so I would like to ask you, can you compare the Indian market with the rest of the world?
So I think you asked the question around Indian market versus the global scene.
Yeah.
All right. So as you might have observed, there are a lot of startups coming up in the startup scene in India, especially, and these guys are targeting the Indian markets because in the global scene, Indian market is a very unique kind of a market. It is a cost-sensitive market, and at the same time, there are a lot of changes happening with the technology being available to almost everyone here in India. I mean, the internet being available, so a lot of businesses are going online. So in that sense, being a product or a team that is focused towards India, so I think that in itself is a massive opportunity. But if you look at the global scene, building products that are completely focused towards India versus being a company that is focused towards international markets, there definitely is a gap and a difference. So we, as of now, it makes sense for us to start off and target Indian markets because we come from this market, and being able to offer localized content or services to people here in India gives us an edge, because there are some established companies who could be offering similar outputs to these people. But if we are able to provide them Indianized content, that definitely helps them and helps us be uniquely positioned. Having said that, we do not really want to be limited to the Indian market. So maybe as startups do, we might be involved in things that do not really scale that much initially. But we would be starting off from this market, but eventually we would want to target the global scene. So yeah, that's my take on this in the sense how MyEra is looking at the two segments of market. But being a SaaS company, I think it is critical to understand different markets, and we will definitely be involved in that process pretty soon.
Yeah. So like, as you talked about different startups coming up, and yeah, that is very true because we get insights about startups every day, funding startups coming up every day. What do you think are the key driving factors for the industry?
Sure. So I think, as I mentioned in my previous answer also, so the change, the primary I think driving factor is the availability of the resources, and especially the internet part of it. So that is one of the drivers, because I believe 10 years from now, I mean, in the past, the businesses didn't really intend to go online, and at the same time, they didn't. There was not a requirement also. But today, especially after the COVID scenario, the lockdown, pushed these businesses to go online. A lot of businesses didn't really have an option and also we, as the people who are completely immersed in technology, we had to change our business. So just think about shopkeepers who've been doing business all their life offline. Now they're forced to go online, and especially I would like to mention a few startups like Dukan. They've actually built on this kind of an opportunity, and that was the requirement, and they've essentially helped these businesses go online. And we kind of we interact with a lot of businesses, and these people are still at the stage wherein they want to go online because their peers are going online, and at the same time their customers are demanding that you be online, and they could share their catalog and things like that. So I think such scenarios wherein the market changes suddenly and people are pushed to evolve or die. Such scenarios have actually pushed our market, in that sense, and we are also trying to capitalize on that because almost everyone is going to be online, and they would definitely need social media as a tool for marketing themselves. So I think these are the two primary drivers. Also, in terms of if we look at a sub set of all these things, is a startup community that is growing in that sense, and there are a lot of startups who are not really completely tech focused, but are trying to uh, be a hybrid kind of a model wherein they're maybe getting these products from the market, and they're just being a brand that is available online. So for these startups, I think the availability of funds, that is also one of the factors that has actually pushed these startups and supported in that sense that these people have been able to establish themselves as some of the players in the market.
So we are talking about COVID challenges. We are talking about the problems that you are facing, and we will though come to the COVID challenge a bit later. I'd like to ask you, what do you think are the challenges faced by the consumers in this scenario?
Sure. So I think I wouldn't want to stick to the technical and the bookish definition of consumer in this case. I'll just maybe take this question and take the liberty of diversifying this and answering in terms of customers, and not technically consumers, because ours is a different kind of model. So on the customer end, I think uh, especially when the first lockdown happened, there was a lot of confusion as to how and what these businesses would do, and on the other side how these customers would receive certain things. So if you're talking about availability of groceries, for example, so a lot of businesses went who were already online diversified, and started providing a lot of solutions around delivery of resources. So in that sense, on a lighter note, I would like to say we've made the consumers and customers slightly lazy. Everything and anything, is available at your doorstep. So that happened, but at the same time, I think this has kind of shifted the mindset to a position wherein people are actually open to exploring solutions online first. There a lot of people, were receiving the services or products or anything, in a certain way. But when the shift happened, almost everything, it still is available online. So this particular shift of mindset and people being open to exploring, new things and newer ways of doing things, has actually supported the ecosystem, I believe. And for us also, as I said, we're trying to capitalize on this kind of a shift. So that is the case for a lot of other startups also. On the consumer end, yes, this shift is helping a lot, and I think customer, especially in India, is now becoming a customer who's spoiled by choices, and they're keeping the startups on the run always, because startups and other businesses also, because they definitely have more options. They can just Google and get other options to explore. So in that sense, they've actually helped the market also evolve, because people are exploring more and more options every day, and they are demanding a great service experiences also. So in that sense, being on the other end, we are forced to evolve and be mature companies with good cultures.
Yeah, and that is very true. We are spoiled with choices, and everything is online. The subsequent question that comes after the challenges is that how are you trying to solve this problem?
All right. So I think uh, we are kind of in a scenario wherein, in terms of restrictions, we are almost out of the scenario wherein COVID related restrictions were in place, and ours is an online model, and I think we evolved in such a way because there were a lot of restrictions, and each kind of restriction was affecting us a lot. Because as I said, we were into offline marketing domain, so offline. So when the first lockdown happened, first thing that happened at Swiggy or other similar companies was they had to cut down on their offline budgets. So and I think that period forced these companies to evolve in a sense wherein they completely shifted to newer ways of marketing, and they were getting output from different channels now. So this became pretty clear to us that the market was never going to be the same. Obviously, I'm not saying that offline marketing as a domain has died, or there are no opportunities, but it was never going to be the same because we had set up a channel and had certain out that way. So that changed, and I think similar companies and companies in different context also they evolved, and we had to evolve. So from offline completely to online, that was our take on this particular thing, and we had to go online anyway because we wanted to scale. So that happened, and now this scenario, this complete shift has taught us a very important lesson, and that lesson is we kind of stay away from services now, and we don't really want to get into services completely, because services are great if you're just starting off, and you can start offering services. You don't really need a lot of capital for offering services, and you can just get started and you can learn on the go. And so that is an easy way to get started and generate revenue. But at the same time, if you are building a product, you definitely have a lot of opportunities, and people keep asking us, can you offer us these services instead of offering us this product? So that is a conscious call that we take on a daily basis, that maybe saying yes to this particular opportunity could actually deviate us from what we're trying to build and dilute our focus. So that is one of the lessons that has helped us, and I hope that continues to help us. So yeah.
How do you think your approach is different from others in the industry?
Okay. Are we talking specifically about people who are doing something similar to what MyEra is doing?
Yeah, sure. You can talk about that, or you can talk about, how is your approach? What sets your, rather, let me reframe the question. What sets your, company unique? What sets them apart from others?
Sure. So first of all, I think we on the marketing side, as marketers, basically, we've been around these products that were not built in India, first of all. So earlier, I'm sure when we were, people of our age would have seen Adobe as one of the leaders, and we used to, it was an exciting thing to learn Photoshop, or I think Corel Draw at that point of time. So which I never could, but I knew that these things were there. So so these things were there, and then Canva came into the scenario, and Canva simplified a lot of things, and Canva did a great job in making things accessible to people, and decreasing that gap in terms of the skill requirement and accessibility. Obviously, internet helped in that sense, because I remember earlier it used to be these installation CDs and these pirated CDs of versions of Adobe softwares. So that changed, and now what has happened is almost everyone is using social media for their marketing, and they're using resources and tools available for free, primarily to get started. So now how MyEra is being uniquely positioned is, we're not really trying to be one of these design or graphic editing tools. We definitely have certain parts and certain sections of these things because they are required to be there. But at the same time, we are we are positioned more towards the marketing side of things. So if you, for example, I'm sure you might have used Canva, or we might have seen people who use Canva. There are possibilities of doing a lot on that platform, and with ease you could create a lot of things, but the platform doesn't really tell you what you should be doing to get your social media in place. It can help you get started with ease. You can definitely turn out good, beautiful content, but you would never know what you should be posting on your social media, and for that matter, when you should be posting, or on which platform you should be posting. So that such platforms require you to have a clear understanding of what you want to create out of, whenever you set to create. So so having said that, there are marketing tools like Zoho Social or Hootsuite. So what generally happens is people create content here. Either if they are premium users, they would have the scheduler available on Canva itself, or they would use freemium versions of Hootsuite and such platforms to plan out their content. So first of all, what MyEra is trying to do is we've closely observed this complete journey, and we've brought in the required features under one umbrella. First of all, so you can start from idea identification. You can generate content. So I'm not saying you can design things here. You can generate. So there's an automation in that sense also. So without having the requirement of the design skills, you can actually churn out more and more content. So you could do that. You could generate multiple copies of it. So instead of doing the grunt work and generating multiple iterations of the same post or creative, you can simply click on next and generate iterations of that. So ideally, so generally what happens is you would expect your intern or your design team to give you multiple options, and you being in the spot, you would want to say, this is something that I like. So वो जो Indian mindset है और in general होता है और दिखाओ वाला जो option है, that is available on MyEra first of all. So once you do that, you can further go ahead and schedule from MyEra itself. So you can plan out your content, calendar that way, and further you can analyze. So right now what we're doing is so we've actually reached a stage wherein basic versions of all these engines are live. So we're adding an intelligent layer over it. So using machine learning and artificial intelligence, we are adding suggestive models over these engines. So this platform will start suggesting as to what you should be doing to improve your performance on social media. So that is also helping us place our product uniquely.
I think you have talked about a lot of your contribution towards the industry, which was my next question. But would you like to add something as to what is your contribution towards
contribution to the Indian market or market in general?
Both, actually.
Okay. So first of all, I don't really want to promote our programs, but just since this question has come up, we started our go-to-market strategy, and I think I'll be open here. So any program would work when it is beneficial to both of the parties involved. So we wanted to acquire users, our early believers, and we wanted to gather the feedback. And a very good opportunity was to start working with early stage startups. So in that sense, we at the same time, if these startups are able to create content on MyEra, and if they're able to get their social media, control over their social media, so that would be a good win-win. So we launched a program called MyEra for startups, and this program, to be honest, was inspired by the market leaders. Any software company would want to work with startups because startups grow exponentially, and then you never know, a small company could be your enterprise tier client the other day. So we took inspirations from similar programs, and we launched MyEra for startups, a credit giveaway program for early stage startups. So in that sense, we were giving away more than 60K of INR 60K of credits to startups to get started, and we were there to handhold them because at the same time our product was not that ready. So we had to introduce some kind of handholding component, and at the same time we were giving away, we were letting them redeem these credits against the premium subscription. So we've been doing that, and I think the program has been live for more than 6 months. So in that sense, I can say we've helped startups get started with their social media marketing journey. And at the same time, I think being able to evolve. So this program has helped us gather a lot of feedback, first of all. And this feedback is something that actually paves the path for future development and the updates that we roll out. So in that sense, if we are actually able to deliver what these startups need, we are indirectly helping the the ecosystem evolve in a better sense. So in the global scene, I think, as I said, our focus is not just on India. There might be obviously we might phase it out. We might roll it out that way. In terms of phases and stages. Uh, so we believe that startups globally have different focuses, different approaches, but at the same time certain problems are pretty common. So if we are able to come up with solutions that cater to these common problems, then I think we are actually contributing towards the global scene as well. So yeah, that's my take on this.
That is amazing, actually. Coming back to the challenges, let us talk about the challenges more. We were talking about COVID. You were talking about COVID. You mentioned COVID, how it affected you. So, what has been the, let's, pointed point the direction towards COVID, and can you tell us what was the impact on the industry due to COVID?
Sure. So I think certain parts I've already mentioned. So I'll maybe repeat certain parts. So one, definitely, especially for this industry, the impact was people wanted things to be online. So as you can see, this meeting is happening, over the internet right now. And I think before COVID, it would have been kind of an obvious thing that we would have tried meeting in person recording this video. So similarly, since these businesses are in a scenario, in a position wherein their customers need things to be online, they're almost required and pushed to be online. So that is the primary thing that has happened because of COVID. Also, since things went online, a lot of the components, the necessary components of any ecosystem, they've been able to, people have been able to connect these online, and in that sense, the world has, I think, in my opinion, has come closer. So I think, because of the COVID and the shifts that happened, we as startup founders, we are able to say that we are going to be targeting markets globally, without even actually, having that kind of direct physical presence over there. So I think this shift happened, and I think I'm still talking about it in terms of positive impact. So so all the challenges, obviously there were a lot of negative impacts, and I need not mention. I think the viewers would definitely know what all happened. And in terms of businesses lost a lot of business. We also lost a lot of business, and we had certain big campaigns coming up, and these campaigns would have helped us achieve the optimistic targets that we had set for ourselves. But that did not happen. So we humans definitely try to connect the dots once we move ahead in the future, and that is what experts have told us, that you'll definitely find a day wherein you'll be able to connect all the dots. So we've already started connecting the dots, and I think this is visible from my answers. So COVID happened. We had the time to basically think beyond offline, and so offline was not resuming. So we definitely had to make the shift. Similarly, a lot of businesses had to do that, and a lot of businesses also. I think it is a fact that a lot of businesses went out of business also. So that happened, but take care. Things happen. Shit happens, and you need to evolve. You need to it is almost survival of the fittest, and I don't really know, things can go down for MyEra also. I'm not I'm not saying that we're risk free, and being a startup, we face risks daily. So that can happen, but I think COVID, in the bigger picture, apart from the personal losses, it helped the businesses evolve, and the markets.
It was actually very good to know some positive impacts of COVID, because we have been talking about so much negative impacts of COVID, so much losses, so much, that it was very good to know a different perspective. Coming back to the question answers, can you tell me how has the market evolved in the past few years, and what have been the trends in the market?
All right. I think it's again a very similar question, but let me take a different kind of a take on this particular thing. All right. So let me relate this to the startup scene. So maybe that will add a different flavor to this discussion. So I'm sitting here right now in the government incubation center of the Rajasthan government. So what was happening before COVID when we were getting involved in such programs with Quarkme, the previous startup, and after the complete lockdown and the markets getting adjusted accordingly, the government focus also has slightly, I think, it has been readjusted and recalibrated. So a lot of recalibration has happened across the globe, and there have been new markets opening up for with opportunities, and there have been markets getting adjusted. So in the government sense, I think especially the state governments and the central government, I clearly remember there were a lot of articles and talks coming up every day, trying to guide these startups as to how to manage the capital that these startups might have, and how the businesses could be directed in that sense. So I think the loss happened with the startups also, obviously. But at the same time, the startups who could survive and get out of this lockdown period, all the lockdown periods included. So I think for these startups, the governments have come up in the sense. Governments definitely need these startups to grow, actually, because these are the people who will be creating jobs for them in bulk, basically, to be honest. And at the same time, startups do need people who could be the early believers and could be there to support startups. So for example, MyEra, when we started in 2021, we were in a position wherein we had a lot of claims and we were yet to build the product, but we had a little bit of traction. So these programs have actually supported startups in the sense, you need not rent out an office. Obviously you start from your room or your garage, and then once you start sitting with your team, you would need some space. So these incubation centers, first of all, have brought in like-minded people at one place, and this is almost kind of I think in the positive sense, a lot of peer-to-peer learning is happening in terms of building these incubation centers also, and the state governments are almost competing for that. So we as beneficiaries of such initiatives, I think I mean, I'm speaking for the startup community, we've benefited from this. Also, just to add, I come from Jaipur, Rajasthan, so I think I'll be able to speak from the Rajasthan government point of view. I think the introduction of programs wherein these people have put in early capital into businesses through different instruments. So I think that has helped startups survive also, and at the same time, startups who were just starting, for example, ours, we could get to the stage wherein we could cover the development costs, and the survival could happen because of such things. So for example, just to highlight, the Rajasthan government was giving away COVID relief fund to such startups. I'm not really sure if it is branded this way. I mean, some kind of grants were there for COVID hit startups. So we could not obviously avail that particular thing, but I've met a few startups who could actually avail funds under that category. So I think this shift wherein the government and the stakeholders stepped up in the sense they wanted these startups to survive and come up. That was not happening with the same aggression earlier. Now that is happening. Also, the launch of Startup India Seed Fund and similar programs at the state level has also helped. So I think the COVID scenario was kind of a trigger because obviously because of COVID, the economy also took the hit in that sense initially, and then everyone was alert that we need to take certain steps on a larger scale to help the economy bounce back. So in the startup scene, I think that has been the change, and capital is available at early stage also.
That's great. And we are reaching towards the end of this interview now. I'd like to end by asking you, where do you see yourself, your startup, your company, in 3 years?
Sure. All right. So we've already spent 1 year, building the product and testing out the waters basically. And so we right now at this stage. Uh, in fact, just before this call, we were discussing certain things around repositioning and how the target audiences, the target customers could be redefined in that sense. So I think within the next 1 year, we are actually required to establish a good product market fit first of all. And right now, obviously, anyone can guess what we are building and who could be the beneficiaries of this particular product. But technically, a product market fit is a slightly different thing, and you would be required to achieve a stage wherein the product starts selling itself. So to be honest, as a startup, I think uh, a refined product market fit would be a requirement for early stage startups. And I think sitting and revisiting this particular aspect of things is required every 6 months, I believe, at the early stage. So I think within the next 1 year, we will have the PMF, the product market fit, established, especially for India. And once that is achieved, and obviously being a tech company, we'll be rolling out major updates every now and then. So the product in that sense will start evolving a lot. It is evolving, but what I'm trying to say is we might be exploring new domains. So within the next year, we'll have a basic PMF established, and then we'll be experimenting a lot in other domains. And by the third year, as you asked, we will definitely have some kinds of experimentation happening internationally. So we would want to, in a similar fashion, we would want to penetrate international markets. And I believe that one of the, initial tests would happen in the US or in Europe somewhere. So these are the two markets that we are really keen on exploring. Yeah.
Great to know that you have a very well laid plan, and I am sure those goals will be successful. So it was so great having you, Anirudh.
Thank you. Thank
Talking
you
to
so much.
you, it was so great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much.